Okay, so we're ready to fill.
So we've all done it. Used our funnel, filled it up with oil. We'll wipe the funnel out, we chuck it back on the shelf. Next time we go to get it, yeah, it looks clean. You'd be surprised how much dust and insect can stick to an oil residue in this. So again, Matt being a little OCD, I Agent Orange mine, hose it out and dry it every time before I go to put oil in. Because one little speck of dust can score a cylinder bore far more than you could begin to imagine. So I take that off. Obviously while the video's been off, we've put the sump plug back in. I'll reiterate, always check you've put that sump plug back in before you get to this stage, because yes, I have poured $80 of oil onto the ground, and everybody's done it at some point.
I haven't yet.
That's because you don't do your own oil changes.
Yeah, fair enough.
So the Mercedes book tells me she takes 8 litres. There's a word of warning. Some of the websites you go to will quote a certain figure, and you might go, oh, that seems a bit short, or that seems a bit high. Often there'll be a little star on your web page, and that'll be a reference note. So it'll be 8 litres with an oil filter. So because we've changed the oil filter, this takes 8 litres. And I think off the top of my head, if you don't change the oil filter, heaven knows why you wouldn't. But if you didn't, I think it's about 7.6. So when you get on these websites, Supercheap, Autobarn, whatever it is, always read that little star. But the best reference you've got is the book your car came with. Because if the manufacturer can't tell you how much is in there, we're all in trouble. So, not so much a problem here in Newcastle where it's a bit warmer, but if you're at Wagga in winter and you're using dinosaur oil, it often pays to let your bottles sit in the sun for a couple of hours to warm up, just to make them a little bit runnier. But being a synthetic oil, as you'll see shortly, this runs with a fair bit of ease. So another trick for people who don't use Penrite often, they often will do a promotion, a sale, and you'll get 1 litre for free, which is awesome. You get 6 litres of oil. It's very easy to have a bit left over from the last bottle, grab your new bottle, and you're so used to using 5 litres, you'll pour that 6 litre one in, and then you'll pour 3 litres of your other one in, and then you'll go, oh, I've put 9 in. So always read how much is on the bottle, because Penrite's not the only one that does it. It'll occasionally give you a litre for free, and old habits die hard. So as you see, I don't try to get 5 litres out in 2 seconds, just pour it in slowly. Don't even try it without a funnel. Seriously people, you don't need much to get down on that manifold for that to stink for a couple of days. And believe me, a Concord judge will always be able to pick the car that's had oil burn on its manifold. And luckily with Penrite, they're nice enough to give you a free service sticker on the back that you can put on your windscreen. Not many do that.
Very good. Would you normally run the car after putting new oil in it before you go for a drive, or are you just straight off on the road?
No, absolutely. I'll check it for leaks. I'll just get this last 3 litres in, and I'll show you something very specific to these engines that you check before you turn the key after an oil change.
How are you going to know you're only putting 3 litres in out of that 5 litre?
Because if you look on here, again, Penrite being the awesome mob they are, 1 litre, 2 litre, 3 litre, 4 litre, 5 litre. So all I've got to do is go down to the 2 litre mark on the bottle.
Excellent.
Again, it's only a little thing, but there's a lot of oil companies that don't do that kind of stuff, and then you've got to go get a measuring jug, and it's often said Australians are the most intuitive bunch. So you would expect a product made in Australia to have all the common sense stuff applied, which Penrite stuff tends to. Big one here, don't ever overfill an engine, ever. The oil blowback, blow-by, whatever you want to call it, will find its way to the catalytic converter. If you want to kill a catalytic converter, You just let oil get near it. So she's got 8 litres now. So again, normally you'd have a rag. So one for concours. Make sure this goes back on the right way. So when this car come from the factory, that cap was that way. It can be the difference between half a point and not half a point. Again, that's OCD kicking in. So you raise a good point, Vince. Do I check it before I start it? Absolutely. Should do a visual leak check on the bottom and the top. And here, you're not really, if it's leaking already and you haven't started it, you've got much bigger problems. So what you normally want to do is run it for 2 minutes, turn it off, wait 10, come back, and check that everything is not leaking. Now this is something that's not widely known. Remember I mentioned this little timing chain tensioner down here? So the tensioner on these uses oil pressure. Now that we've drained all the oil out, we've removed the pressure from that tensioner. Now, they're spring-loaded as well, but a word of caution. Over here, look down in here, Vince, you can see this thing called an ignition module. What you do before you start it is you pull this off here, right, which removes the crank angle sensor, so the car will turn over, but it won't attempt to fire. Why would one want to do that? Because as it turns over, the oil pressure builds up in this tensioner and ensures that there's tension on the chain. Because if you have a bad day and the spring is weak in that tensioner and you just start it and there's no oil in there, that chain is going to run slack. And in the last video we mentioned about what happens when chains jump. So always must disconnect that module and I'll crank it over 3 or 4 cranks.
Should I stand back?
So now there's oil pressure in that tensioner. So we won't have to worry about a tensioner sitting slack and a chain jumping. They're always a bit noisy when they start, then, run out of oil. And I like to let mine run for 1 to 2 minutes. And that's generally long enough to let you know if you've got a leak somewhere. I'd say it's not a difficult job, but disconnecting that module and pressurising that tensioner is a big must.
How many Ks has this engine done?
416,700. And as you can see, she's pretty smooth for that kind of mileage, that kind of age.